Aloha, guys. Happy Aloha Friday. Let me get this little one. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. I am talking with my mom who's on vacation right now and dealing with some things right now. So I will be calling her back as soon as I get done with this. But in the meantime, let's give the puppy pups their treats. They've been waiting nicely and behaving themselves waiting on that. We got tons of people in chat. And what's so bad is I did not have, oh my God, I did not have my chat open, or did I? I got a little bit of the chat. Yes, I can talk to you guys that came in. And so let's see. Christola, by the way, before we get started, gang, Christola has been working her butt off on creating a bunch of new emojis. So those of you who are members, you got some new emojis you can play with. Please have fun. Go ahead and hit that members emoji list. She's got a local maniac one, a locals ohana one, a red flag one, a clue one. So gang, we got some cool things that you guys can play with there. Please go take a look if you've got a membership icon next to you, if you are one of our members. If you are not, this is your chance. We're going to try to, she and I've actually been talking about what can we do to make this a little more special for those of you who are members, who are really helping me tremendously. And there's all the icons coming in. Chicken Lady got her icons in there. I've needed to create new icons, and it took dear Christola to pop up some new ideas. So love you, Miss Christola. Thank you so much for that. And on who else do we got? Our Cluck Chicken Lady, who actually has a bunch of new chicks. Sleuth Mom got to name one of them, and she's got the coolest little Halloween Scarefest horror movie named chickens. Okay, oh my gosh, so adorable, so adorable. As a Stephen King fan, it being one of my favorites, I like the Pennywise one. Pennywise was my favorite. Who else we got? We got In the Bushes. How you doing, my dear? And who else? Sorry, guys, I'm a little behind. Chris actually sent us one of the cases for today that we are going to go through. I'd actually been looking at it earlier this week, and unfortunately, they did find the missing person. It had gone nationwide, and Sarah is from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And when we get there, I'll talk about it a little bit more. But Fort Leonard Wood has a special place in my heart because I grew up there for about 4 years of my life. And it's lovingly called Fort Lost in the Woods to anyone who's in the military. Unfortunately, Sarah, I think Sergeant Sarah Roque, her body was found. So we're going to talk about that at some point. And who else we got here? We got Siren, the grandpapa. Hey, Papa, how you doing? And for those of you who don't know, Siren became a granddad and has a little grandbaby boy now. And I'm just so happy. Mom is okay from what I understand, which is very good. Very good. I know there were some concerns we were all having her in prayers and all that. So I can't wait to start seeing all the pictures come through. Those are going to be the best. And by the way, those of you who are going to be joining us tomorrow, please check. We're going to have a pre-premiere for Clout Chasers Q&A. Guys, we're already putting out questions. So if you've got questions, you can come into chat and type in your questions, and we'll make sure to get to them. Some of the questions are absolutely amazing. I love them. Siren and I are a ex-married couple, and we'll just leave it at that. And there's some bloopers coming up after the fact, I think, that will address that. So yeah, how's baby Siren? And Ocean Tide, how you doing, Ocean Tide? Welcome. So baby is doing fine. Daughter's worn up. Oh yeah, that's it. Oh, they tend to love to use the boob. The boob. Yeah, pacifier. Actually, in a way, pacifier is so hard. I did not like giving up my pacifier. I loved my pacifier. Who else we got? Sorry, I'm going through this. Let me see. Hey, Sleuth Mom, how you doing, my dear? We're actually going to start off with Leilani today, by the way. Sleuth has been covering that trial. There we are, Lioness. How you doing, my dear? Laugh at Life. How you doing, my dear? Welcome, welcome. And good seeing you here. Oh, W is everything tonight. Yes. We are going to have so much fun tomorrow. I mean, that movie premiere, the Q&A, followed by the movie premiere, then over to Siren's channel, where we're going to be doing the sour stuff. Laugh at Life. No such thing as late here because Hawaii, we go on Hawaiian time here, which is usually late. So yeah, it works out really well. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. Sorry, I am super freaking hot, as you can tell. In fact, I don't even have my light on because of how hot I am right now. I'm hot. Yes. So yes, I do need to do some Sarah Boone updates. I don't have it for tonight, but if we have time, I'll try to add it on at the end. Yeah, honestly, Siren, I'm kind of halfway there. I have watched most of it, and I know most of the plot, but nothing's coming out of my mouth. No. So let's go ahead and start us off with Quinton. Quinton has justice. We have been fighting and fighting, okay, making sure that he had his name out there. BC, how you doing, my dear? Aloha, my dear. That he never lost his voice, that he never disappeared from everywhere. And as of today, that jerk known as his mother is going to be spending a long time in jail. And I'm so happy about that. And I highlighted the wrong one. Yes, right there. By the way, hi, B10, how you doing? Quinton verdict. Oh, I didn't know the Boone verdict came in. I've been so focused on Mom and her emergency and this that, okay, we will have to, oh gosh, I got to find some stuff so maybe I can update us on that one also. Wow, I did not. See, when I'm doing research on Fridays, I am like all over the place and I don't always get the right then and there stuff. So I will definitely have to get that. So let's go ahead though and start with our dear Quinton, as she is Boone. Okay, well, y'all know, but yeah. Okay, yes. Quinton, here we go. This was what I woke up to. This was the news I woke up to this morning. So happy to hear it. I mean, not just guilty on a charge here or there. I mean, it was a guilty train across the board. And also, Chris is on his backup account. You got it. So let's go ahead and we're going to watch for those. Let me ask you guys, put a 1 in chat if you got to see the verdict come in. Put a 2 in chat if you have not yet. Okay, I wasn't sure if we would just go and play the verdict right now for all of you guys who were wondering about it. We all know that she's guilty, but it's nice to see this little piece of something cry. I hate to say it, but yeah, she sat there. It's funny how all of a sudden the tears start coming the moment that they ask the jury to start, okay, answering, was this your verdict and all that. So, aha, here we go. Let's do this thing then. Okay. I'm going to have to take us back a little bit. There's a little bit of talking here while they're waiting.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Smith.
A lot of 2s. Okay. So they're having the jury come in. Finally, tears. Yeah, it took her realizing she's going to spend a hell of a long time in jail.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you may have a seat.
The tears were only for her.
Thank you very much.
That's what's so sad.
And I understand that you have received a verdict. I just want to say, first of all, to those who are in the audience,
thumbs up if you can hear.
There has been a jury verdict reached. To everyone in attendance, and many of you have been here for quite some time, I will ask that there not be any emotional reactions and no disruptive outbursts. So at this point, I am going to
You bring a
ask
child
the
into
foreperson to please
world
stand.
and you cry for
Juror
yourself and they
5.
leave.
And
And
have
you
you
took their
reached
life.
a verdict?
Yes, we have.
Was it unanimous?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it
Has
was.
the verdict been filed in or filled in and signed and dated by you?
Yes, it has.
And if you would please hand the verdict
The
to
ocean tide.
Deputy Solomon. Thank you, Deputy Solomon, for handing that up.
I love to sit here when all this is so quiet and all and think, what's going through their mind at a time like this? Especially when you know that they remember all the minutes that led up to the death of this poor child. Okay, what is she thinking about? What is she worried
I'm
about?
going to
What is
ask
she- all
counsel
those
to
things.
approach and take a look at the verdict form.
I have not either, Chris. Let's see. Okay, so now that they've got everyone up at the front, they did go and mute everything long enough for them to go over all that. Again, you can see her mind. She's thinking 100 different directions a minute right here, trying to figure things out, trying to, okay, can I hear anything they're saying? All these different things that are going through her head. And she looks at them. Well, what is it? What is it?
As to the verdict, it reads as follows. We, the jury, find as follows: malice murder. We find the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We find the defendant guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We find the defendant guilty. Count 4, concealing the death of another. We find the defendant guilty. Count 5, false report of a crime. We find the defendant guilty. Count 6, making a false statement. We find the defendant
Eyes getting
guilty.
heavier and heavier.
Count 7, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 8, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 9, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 10, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 11, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 12, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 13, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 14, making a false statement. We find the defendant
Her
guilty.
eye blinks.
Count 15, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 16, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. Count 17, making a false statement. We find the
Sweetheart,
defendant
look at that
guilty.
smile.
Count 18, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty. And count 19, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty.
Guilty.
And is there anything further from the state? From the defense?
No, no, we asked both.
Sir.
Hold the jury. Now's when we
So,
start to see.
Members of the jury, this is
Yep,
something
Priscilla,
that very
then we'll
often
reveal
happens. You will be asked questions by the clerk, 3 questions in particular, I believe, and simply answer the question.
Actually, yeah,
Clerk.
it kind of looks like she rolls her eyes. She's
Juror number 1,
still got attitude.
was this your verdict then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Yes.
Juror number 2. Juror number 2. Was that your verdict then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 3. Was that your verdict then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Now it's starting
Juror number 4.
to make sense
Was that
of
your
what's
verdict then?
happening.
Yes.
Is this your
Getting her
verdict
full
now?
force. There
Juror number
comes
5.
tears.
Was that your verdict then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Yes.
Now it's
Juror
not
number
just a
6.
piece of paper.
Was that your verdict
People
then?
telling her
Yes.
to her
Is this your
face,
verdict now?
we're
Yes.
guilty.
Juror number 7.
Now she
Was
can't
that
deal
your
with
verdict then?
it. She's
Yes.
realizing
Is this
these
your
are
verdict
real
now?
people
Yes.
who have found
Juror
her.
number 8. Was that your verdict then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Yes.
Juror number 9.
Even the
Was that
latest
your verdict
gift.
then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Yes.
Juror number 10.
God can give you the
Was that your
child
verdict
and you
then?
do.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your verdict now?
I do hope she gets
Juror number
help that she
11.
needs.
Yes.
Because she's
Was that
got
your
the-
verdict then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Yes.
Juror number 12. Was that your verdict then?
Yes.
Is this your verdict now?
Yes.
The police officers here in the court,
Anything
court
further at this time
officers,
with the juries?
shed more
With the jurors.
tears for her son.
Ladies and
than she
gentlemen,
did.
thank you for your service, for your time, for your energy. This has been an important, more than 2 weeks now that you've spent with the court, and your time and attention is deeply appreciated. I am going to release you. If anyone wants to speak with you about your deliberations and you want
There's a lot
to,
of
you may
cases.
do
One-
so now.
a lot
You're
of-
being released from the instructions. You're not under any obligation to speak with
He analyzed
anyone
it for some reason.
about your experience,
Hit me.
but you may do so if you choose to. I am ordering that there be no
Sorry.
contact with the jurors in the courthouse or on the courthouse property. But I do release you at this
Well,
point.
that's the truth. If you think
Thank
about it,
you.
when you get hit with
You're free
news
to go.
like this,
Zero
you
Dexter.
slowly, you slowly come to realize just what is going
All right,
on.
you just heard the verdict in the trial for Leilani
Now
Simon.
she's
That's
starting
the
to break
Savannah mother accused of murdering her
point.
toddler son, throwing his
Yeah.
body in a dumpster. You'll remember his body was found in a Chatham County landfill. Simon was facing a total of 19 criminal counts that included one count
those
of
of you who
malice
weren't
murder,
following,
two
this was
counts of felony murder, one count each of false reporting of a crime and
Let me see if I
concealing the
can
death
find Sarah
of another,
Boone's.
and 14 counts of making a false statement. Now, the difference between malice murder and felony murder is malice murder requires intent, while felony murder does not. The jury found Simon guilty on all counts. You remember when Simon called 911 the day she reported her son Quinton Simon missing. She said she believed someone had taken him from his home. She also told investigators a
I'm
story
looking for
about
Sarah
how
Boone
she
right
had
now.
gone out the night before he was reported missing to get Oragel from a friend at a Chevron. Investigators playing videos for the jury showing that she actually never stopped her car at that Chevron and instead went to a mobile home park where she did park in front of a dumpster. We're going to have a full coverage of this verdict on WJCL 22 tonight, as well as a recap
done a
of
great
the
job
trial. For
there.
a full timeline, though, on the death of Quinton Simon and his mother's arrest.
I'll just stop that one there. Yeah, please definitely take some time to go look at that if you haven't looked at the case, because yes, Quinton has justice now, but it's not going to change the fact that his life was taken away from him. He will never go to prom. He will never graduate from high school or college. He'll never get married. He'll never have kids of his own. His future was taken away by a monster, and that will never change. Justice may have happened, but that does not change the fact. And he will have a voice forever. He will never disappear from any of our minds because we will remember him no matter what. Okay, there's this little corner of all of our brains that holds Quinton, okay, in a nice little fluffy blanket and all, and we'll never forget him. And yeah, there's a lot of things. The malice part, okay, malice, intent, things like that. There's a lot of things. I have a hard time believing anyone could plan and intend stuff like this. Unfortunately, we've seen that people will, and they do. And so I am going to pull this up. I'm hoping this is a good copy of it. Yep. And but let me real quickly. I have Sarah Boone here. I'm hoping it is hearable at this point. I usually check out stuff first, but I did not do it in this case. So cross your fingers. But for those of us who missed Sarah Boone's, I know a lot of us were following her case. Put a 1 in chat if you were following Sarah's case. Put a 2 in chat if you haven't. This is the case of her actually killing and putting her boyfriend in a suitcase. And so let's see. I'm not sure if I'll have to go forward some. No subtitles. Hopefully you guys can
Madam
hear
Clerk,
okay.
please poll our jury.
Juror in seat number 1, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror in seat number 2, is this your true?
Okay, I'm going to pause this right here. There are no subtitles yet. My subtitles aren't working really, really well here. However, let me see if I have let me see if there's any way I can add one more thing here. Let's see. I'm not sure if I can add a screen or not here. I don't think I can. No, I can't. No, I can't. Okay. So we're going to keep playing it this way. What they are doing is polling right now, polling the jury to find out, okay, are you in agreement at the time? And then are you still in agreement? Okay. And so far, the first person has said yes. So I will try to bump things as much as I can. I just don't know if I have it set.
Yes, it is. Juror in seat number 3, is this your true and correct verdict? Juror in seat number 4, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 5, is this your true and correct verdict? Yes. Juror in seat number 6, is this your true and correct verdict? Yes, ma'am.
Members of our jury, again, I want to thank you for your time, your sacrifice, and your attention in this matter. I know that we spent almost 2 weeks together, and it was not taken lightly, and I really appreciate the time and the effort and the sacrifice that you put into this case. I want to advise you now of your final instruction. Members, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and your consideration in this case. I also wish to
So that looks like that's all they got on this one. I'm going to see real quickly if there's anything else real quickly. But long story short, yes, Sarah Boone found guilty. Okay, so we had 2 different cases come out today with that. Just trying to find anything where I can actually pull it up nice and easily here. We've got a lot of things. You know what? We'll pull this up by the end. If I get something a little bit more clear, we'll share it at the end. We got a lot of cases, though, to go through right now. So let's see here real quickly. Pull that down. I got a doggy barking, trying to get mommy's attention right now. Okay. So 2 good cases closed today, guilty verdicts. I mean, really nice there. Other cases, we are moving forward. We're going to talk a little bit about Elijah again today because there were both Katrina and Jesse had either their chance for, with an update at court, or they decided they didn't need anything. So we'll kind of address that in a few minutes. Sarah Roque, went missing at the beginning of this week. So that's where I want to take us right now is Sarah Roque. So Sarah, earlier this week, there was pretty much a bolo went out across the whole nation looking for Sergeant Roque. She's from Fort Leonard Wood, which is in Missouri. Some of you who were here at the beginning will remember, I kind of was telling you this base has a very soft spot in my heart. I actually was there for 4 years as a really young back in my preteen years. Best years of my life, actually, were at Fort Leonard Wood. It's known as Fort Lost in the Wood, actually. So when I actually heard about her going missing, it wasn't just the fact that she had gone missing at Fort Leonard Wood. I remember the area, a lot of woods. There's a reason why it's called Fort Lost in the Woods. Okay. A lot of the concerns I had with that. Well, unfortunately, within a day, they did find her remains. This time it wasn't out in the woods or anything like I personally was worried. She was found in a dumpster, near the single men's quarters. I'm not sure if they were enlisted quarters or officers' quarters, but single quarters. So let's go ahead and just bring you guys up to date on this case. There has been an arrest in this case also. So let me share you guys out this new replaced screen. Here we go. Switch this out. You would not. There, looks much better with that, bigger than me. So here we go. This is just something about the arrest. Now, I am going to let you guys know, we don't know anything other than the fact that there is a person of interest who has been arrested. We don't know their name. We don't even know if they're military or not at this point. And all we know is that she was found deceased. They do feel it was murder, and they do have a person of interest. That is all we know at this point.
Now in custody in the death of a Fort Leonard Wood soldier whose body was found inside a dumpster. Chris Bryant has the new details the Post leaders revealed about their investigation into the death of Sergeant Sarah Roque.
Major General Christopher Beck confirmed that the death of Sergeant Sarah Roque is being investigated as a homicide by the Criminal Investigation Division of the United States Army.
Unfortunately, the outcome of our efforts was one that we had all hoped and prayed would not happen.
Sergeant Roque was reported missing by members of her unit Monday morning. 3 hours later, a nationwide bulletin to be on the lookout for the missing soldier. Then,
Later that evening, Sarah's body was discovered.
now the Criminal Investigation Division, along with the FBI, are conducting a homicide investigation.
Her body was located in a dumpster adjacent to our single soldiers' quarters on the installation.
Criminal investigators with the Army are not yet releasing details into the cause of her death, the timeline of events that day, or a potential suspect in the case.
So at this point, we do have a person of interest. We are continuing to look at every investigative lead.
Yeah.
I can tell you at this point, efforts are made to make sure this individual does not pose any threat to the base or the community.
You know what's kind of worrying? Sorry to pause. By the way, hey Kelly, and what's kind of scaring me on this right now is this is yet one more military death recently. The numbers we've always had, you know what, military is the same as civilian when it comes down to it when you're dealing with crime. There's crime on military bases the same way there is in the regular civilian world. But we're seeing, and I don't know if this is DV related or not, we've seen a huge increase in cases being shared recently. Yeah, I think they haven't, people asked at the interview with the base general, was it a military prison? They can't come out and say it. I think we safely can say so. I agree, Chris. I do think we can safely say that. But I think we're definitely starting to see an increase, okay, in the amount of deaths occurring on military bases. I want to know whether or not this is DV related or not. DV does not mean married. I mean, she could have been dating someone for all, we don't know. We don't know. Those are all speculations. All we know is someone is officially being hit.
When it comes to them being a member of the military,
That I can't answer as far as descriptor. It would give too much away if that person is not in custody at this point.
They are.
while questions
They are
and the
arrested
investigation
now.
continue, commanders at the post assure it remains a safe place.
I will tell you point blank, and I've said this to our team, the command sergeant major and I have reinforced this. Fort Leonard Wood is a safe place to live and work.
Right.
Major General Beck says he has been in contact with Sergeant Roque's family. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to contact the Criminal Investigation Division of the United States Army at cid.army.mil. At Fort Leonard Wood, Chris Bryant, KY3 News.
CID is truly taking on a lot of cases lately. I have heard CID mentioned more in the last 5 months than I have in probably 2 years of covering cases. And that's what is worrisome. That's something that I think the military needs to be taking a look at. Something is happening to trigger this, whether it's a mental health thing they need to take a look at. Whatever it is, there's something else going on right now out there. So hopefully we'll hear more about this case as time comes on. Of course, it is military. Military does tend to kind of quiet things out. For example, I did not say we were going to cover this, but just to let y'all know, in the case of Misha here in Hawaii, there haven't been any full force updates. However, we have been told for quite a while they were looking at the area of Dole Plantation. It has come out over the last, I'd say, week or 2 weeks now that Dole Plantation area, that area of the island, is no longer an area of interest. What that tells me is, even though CID isn't telling people anything else, they're getting information somewhere. I'm wondering personally if whether maybe information from his phone or his car has come in now, and they're getting a little bit more direction as to where he drove during those days. That's what I'm kind of thinking. This is good news. It's good news that they can now narrow down the area of interest. So that's the other one of the other military cases going on right now. So moving us over to Elijah now. We have been following Elijah's case now for quite a while. In the bushes, yes. You know what? And that's the thing. I'm like, is this new, this many military things? I'm trying to remember all the years with my dad. Well, but that was years ago. I mean, reading the Stars and Stripes and stuff like that and getting information. It's just like, yeah, Chris, you've got a good point. Fort Leonard Wood has civilians working at it. So it could very well be someone in that level. Okay. I also think in the bushes, one reason why we hear a lot more about it now is because due to the advent of the internet, okay, and focus on cases like it is now, those cases don't just stay limited to the base anymore. People are all over the internet sharing the case now. They're making Facebook groups. They're doing all those things now. That's something new that was never done before. And so, okay, let's move us over to Elijah. We were talking last week about Elijah. Now that Quinton has gotten his justice, we need to go straight forward towards justice for Elijah. Elijah Vu, okay, justice, okay, holding these two monsters responsible for what they did. Yeah, in the bushes, I think it's public's paying attention to reports now. We're demanding information more than we've ever done before. So, couple different things. We know last week there was some updates. Now that they did find his body, they were able to come together and put together a number of new charges for both Katrina and Jesse. Based off of that, we had a number of preliminary hearings, all those things put together. Just to start us off with one area, and then we're going to go through this article and one news story. Katrina, as many of you guys know, had a $400,000 bail and is facing 60 years in prison. Jesse, on the other hand, is looking at $500,000 bail and up to a mandatory life sentence if he's convicted of things. We were looking at preliminary hearings this week, things like that. There were a lot of changes because of lawyers, pretty much. Okay, Jesse did not have lawyers, for example, so that kind of led us in a whole direction this week. Everything started Monday when both of them showed up in court virtually. So let's start that.
All right, Samantha, thank you very much for that update.
Sorry, it would help.
We begin with Katrina Baur and Jesse Vang appearing virtually in court today for charges filed back on Thursday in the death of Two Rivers toddler Elijah Vu. Baur, Elijah Vu's mother, faces charges of chronic neglect of a child, where the consequence is death, child neglect, and obstructing an officer. Vang, Baur's boyfriend, is charged with physical abuse of a child causing death, hiding a corpse, and obstructing an officer. Today, Baur waived her right to a preliminary hearing, and the court found probable cause that she, quote, committed a felony. Her arraignment has been set for October 30th. Vang, meanwhile, opted to receive a preliminary hearing, which is set to take place Thursday. Elijah was reported missing back on February 20th, and in September, his remains were discovered in a wooded area. The cause of death was listed as homicide by an unspecified cause. We now bring you to Two Rivers, the area Elijah was last seen in while he was staying with Vang, where the community is reacting to the recent charges. Local 5's Samantha Petters joins us live now with the latest there. Hi, Samantha.
That's right, Caitlin. Now, we have seen the toll this has taken on the Two Rivers community and really the entire state, but emotions are still high as there continue to be new developments. I spoke
agree
with a
with you
woman,
100%
Diane
on this. She's getting
Beisingerman,
off
who
pretty
lives
easy.
just down the street from the apartment where Jesse Vang lived here in Two Rivers. She told me she moved her family here just weeks before Elijah Vu was reported missing. Police reports say Elijah had been living here with Vang. She also said that although it was a scary and difficult time, having to speak with Two Rivers Police, the FBI, and several other agencies, it was seeing the community coming together to try to find answers that made the move easier.
We had moved here, we were here for 2 weeks. We still had our moving stuff here out in the front when this was all happening. And I was calling my husband and I'm saying, you know, like, I can't believe this is what we moved into. I can't believe this is happening. And he said, well, the positive is that you see the community out, and that was true. It was like a parade throughout the whole neighborhood of people and vehicles. Any type of vehicle you could think of was out there looking in February, and it continued on for...
I'm going to say one thing. She was saying, I can't believe we moved into this. What is scary is, my suspicion is most of us live in neighborhoods where this is possible. Okay, maybe not our street, but within I guarantee you 3 to 5 mile radius of each of our houses. I would not be surprised to say that something like this is possible. And that's what's scary. On the other hand, like she said, is what about your neighborhood? Would you all come together and would you fight for that child who's being hurt? I think so. I think the majority of our neighborhoods would do exactly what they did right there.
Well into the weeks afterwards.
Jules, welcome. So you're new. Your boyfriend lives an hour from Two Rivers. He went in search, heartbreaking. No problem. Yeah, I'm hoping justice happens. Okay, quickly, yes. They deserve their chance to be, get a fair trial. And first of all, thank you to your boyfriend. Searching for people is hard. People don't realize when you're going out and searching for things, you don't know what you're going to come across. Okay, you literally, in your head, you've got a picture of the possibilities. They warn you about that. So thank you. Thank you to your boyfriend for that. And I'm hoping things move forward pretty quickly. And yeah, like was said a few minutes ago, I don't know, was it In the Bushes who said, yeah, In the Bushes said, I agree. I think Katrina honestly should have had the same charges. I do. I'm sorry. She knew what was going on. Okay. She didn't stop it. She let it go on. Okay. In a way, she spurred things on with some of her behavior. And so that's just me. So there we go.
Beisingerman adds that she is still trying to wrap her head around the case as a whole, but is just thankful for all of the efforts that have gone into keeping the community safe. Live from Two Rivers, I'm Samantha Petters, Local 5 News. Caitlin?
All right, Samantha, thank you very much for that update.
That's about it there. Yeah, Two Rivers really came out. You see this over and over, these neighborhoods where people pull together. Okay, and it's amazing to see when people pull together for things, whether that is, sorry, I had to take Ariel down the other day because of the fact that I was recording, part of a movie, and I needed to have a different type of background going on. She will be going up in the near future. But communities come together because they're all our children. When a child is, excuse my language, but shit on by the people that are supposed to love them and care for them, guess what? The rest of the neighborhood will step up. We'll love that child instead. And so that gets us through. Let me just make sure, share this one article that I did come across. Okay, so that got us up till Monday with this case. Okay, Katrina waived her right to a preliminary hearing. Arraignment is now set for October 30th. However, we were left on Monday with Jesse due to have a preliminary hearing on the 24th, which was yesterday. That didn't last long. things started changing very quickly. Let me just pull this together so we could go over this together, because there were a lot of things occurring from Tuesday on in this case. So, long story short, Jesse was appointed lawyers who were going to defend him. He has 2 lawyers who have been assigned to him. And they immediately, Tuesday, on being assigned to the case, they asked to postpone Thursday's preliminary hearing because they're like, time to prepare for this. There's a hell of a lot for us to go through. We need time to do that. Okay, fair, completely fair. We want to make sure he gets a fair, trial, so that once he's sent, allegedly, in my thoughts, what's going to happen, he won't have a chance to come back and get out later. He's facing 4 counts, including physical abuse of a child, repeated acts causing death, and hiding a corpse. And then, of course, Katrina is also charged in the case. He did appear in court on Monday, did not have an attorney, so all that was set up. And because of the changes, new lawyers and all, the lawyers put out a request for things to be pushed off, to adjourn the preliminary hearing. So let's just go through this real quickly. Basically, just saying we're the newly appointed counsel for the defendant, and we're moving to adjourn the preliminary hearing in this matter. It's currently set for October 24th, yesterday at 3 p.m. They cannot be properly prepared for that at that time. They both had scheduling conflicts, which, could be worked around if necessarily, but they would rather not. And there's insufficient time for counsel to meet with Vang in the jail to discuss his case. Taking this further, that's that. So long story short, after that was submitted, it was agreed that they would put off the preliminary hearing, and instead a status conference was held. So a status conference was held yesterday rather than a preliminary hearing, and at that hearing yesterday, or status conference yesterday, a new preliminary hearing date was scheduled for November 6th at 2:30 p.m. So that's where we are right now. Arraignment will be set for October 30th for Katrina, and a preliminary hearing date, November 6th for Jesse. So we'll keep those dates on our calendar as we get closer, report on those as soon as we have those updates. So moving on, we've got our last case for today. We've been talking about this. We covered this in a standalone live. We did it in updates. And this is the mother of 4 out of San Antonio who went missing. Maybe about 2 weeks or so ago now. She and her husband were coming home from a party, and they had a little fight at the party. That fight continued on the way home. A neighbor did hear some arguing going on between the couple later that night. Looked outside, saw Brad, the husband, Suzanne's husband, actually trying to restrain, Suzanne. This guy then went to get his flashlight to go outside to stop things. In the meantime, he heard 2 screams come from a wooded area, and they disappeared. About an hour later, he saw Brad leave in his vehicle and return an hour or 2 later. Next morning, Brad took his daughter to school. Got a phone call around 3 o'clock that she had not been picked up yet by Suzanne. So he reported Suzanne missing at that time. Police pretty quickly arrested Brad, the husband. At the time, we were kind of being led to the idea that DV related, because the neighbor did see the altercation that occurred which allowed them to arrest him for that. However, there have been a lot of questions because ATF and all were involved in this. And it's like, wait, was there a weapon involved in this? And we got our answer to that question this week. Earlier this week, his friend, his coworker, business partner, was arrested for helping to conceal an AK-47. Long story short, and we are going to go through, okay, what is in that affidavit, according to the San Antonio Express News. However, both are now in jail over that. The other thing that is going on as of this week is Brad has decided he just wants to see his children. And he is now filing motions to see his children, which we'll see what happens. My suspicion is he's not going to get those motions. These children have been through enough. You got to also recognize, I suspect the youngest, who is 5 years old, may have been a witness to whatever happened. So I would not be surprised to see him not get that. So we're going to watch this 2-minute, 28-second news story from News 4 in San Antonio, where they kind of go over that, and then we'll look at some information that is being shared from the affidavit. Here we go. Let me pause that real quick. Yeah, Chicken Lady. No one has heard, from what I understand, a pew-pew yet. No one has heard that. And that's what's kind of confusing with this whole thing. Is this, yes, BC, this pew-pew was actually hidden behind his friend's wall, in the bedroom wall. And now the question is, was the fear, oh, I have something that's not licensed or something and I want to do this, or is this a murder weapon? That we're not sure right now. That one we don't know. He did have, and that's a biggie. Those silencers is a huge part of this thing. Sorry. Were they okay? No, no, no. Not through us. Oh, am I just, oh, so you guys have gotten to see me for the last 2 minutes just nodding and saying, mm-hmm. Need a second screen, guys. I so need a second screen so I know what I've shared and what I haven't. Well, that was a great article. Don't you guys agree with me? It was a wonderful, wonderful article. And oh my gosh. You know, Jules, I'm not sure. BC, do you remember for sure? I don't want to say. I've read so many things right now, and I'm not sure if I'm confusing cases in my head right now. I just happened to look over and I'm like, oh, what? So, okay, let me share that out. It would help. I still am trying to get used to this with Restream. I'm like, is it worth it for me just to go back to StreamYard? Oh my gosh, it's driving me crazy. Okay, Now I'll rewind and we'll get going again on this whole wonderful story. Yeah. There we go.
Continues in the search for missing Almost Park realtor
Deja vu.
Suzanne Simpson. She hasn't been seen in more than 2.5 weeks.
Actually, one second. Let me pause it real quickly. So you guys don't have my big mug up there instead.
Suzanne's
There we go.
husband, Brad Simpson, faces 2 new charges in the case, and Brad's longtime business partner is charged with evidence tampering. 65-year-old James Cotter is in the Baur County Jail on a $500,000 bond. He's accused of hiding a fully automatic AK-47 that belonged to Simpson at his home. An arrest affidavit.
BC, do you remember whether or not did he have any past record? I can't remember that one myself. I've got so many different cases in my head. I'm not sure if I'm mixing them up right now. So I know you're really good at that. So we'll see. I do know, yeah, he did not have it registered, which is a big no-no.
It says Cotter and Simpson were in constant contact in the days after Suzanne's disappearance. Cotter's filed a motion asking to have his bond reduced. He says the amount is excessive for him and his family. And this comes as Brad Simpson's attorney filed a motion for Brad to let him see his kids.
News 4 San Antonio's Robert Price breaks down why that may not happen and the new bond amount he's now facing.
More than 2 weeks after Suzanne Simpson was last seen alive, her husband, Brad Simpson, remains in the Baur County Jail on assault and unlawful restraint charges.
Of course, we're looking at Brad because of the fact of the family violence.
Arrested for a physical confrontation with Suzanne, witnessed by a neighbor the night she went missing. His bond was set at $2 million, much higher than normal for misdemeanor charges.
He may be a danger to her, and so that's why the bond was so high.
Then came that federal detainer, the ATF placing a detention hold on Simpson for having a short-barreled rifle that was not registered to him. Throw in a new evidence tampering and weapons charge this week, and his bond now sits at $3 million. The conditions of his bond, preventing him from seeing his 4 children, something a former FBI agent we spoke to considers appropriate.
These were all necessary, I believe, to protect the community and specifically his children.
Brad Simpson disagrees, and his lawyer has now filed a motion looking to let him see his 4 kids, arguing the state has not offered any evidence to suggest that not seeing his kids is in any way related to the safety of the community or an alleged victim. Simpson is not a flight risk, his lawyer writes. He's asking the judge to remove or modify this no contact order.
He has 4 children. So imagine if law enforcement would have allowed him to return to that family dynamic, they could be endangered.
Brad Simpson will.
And that's the thing that is in play here. Okay. We know he went home with her. Okay. He and Suzanne went home. Whatever happened during that time frame. We don't know right now. Now, police may know more than we know. They may be questioning the kids. Okay. But the youngest is 5 years old. Okay. That child was at home that night. And so did they see things? And even if they didn't see things, one thing we are learning about this whole relationship is domestic violence was at the center of it. And when you have someone who wants to see his children and you've got DV at the center of what held that family together, to be honest, probably not the safest thing for those children to see. Okay, think about, is there any threats that's going on? Okay, a child who hasn't seen him for a few days, a week, whatever now, okay, maybe starting to feel safe enough to speak up. And the moment you get them back together, they may clam up. And so, yeah, and they're possible witnesses, plain and simple. He doesn't need to talk to them. He does not need to talk to them. Okay, give it a time. Right now, no. And
Will make his first court appearance November 13th, have his charges read to him, and enter a plea. As for that no contact order with his children, we'll let you know what the judge decides. I'm Robert Price reporting.
So that was that article. What I want to do now is switch us over to a news story that we're going to go over fairly quick. I've been looking for a copy of the affidavit, not the initial affidavit that led to his arrest, but the second one connected to Brad and Cotter, Mr. Cotter, who is actually the what's his first? James Cotter, James Val Cotter, who has now been arrested for hiding this pew pew in the wall of his bedroom for Brad. So let me just real quickly share that one out. And let's read through that pretty quickly here. Now, I have not been able to find, like I said, the actual affidavit. If I do, I will share it out. Maybe if it's okay, if there's enough new information in it, we can share it here. However, this had some pretty good information in it. So let's just start it down here. 2 days after the Almost Park real estate agent, Suzanne Simpson, disappeared, her husband, Brad, allegedly arranged for a friend to retrieve assault weapon from Simpson's home and hide it from authorities, court records now show. James Val Cotter, Brad Simpson's friend and business partner, concealed the weapon in a bedroom wall in Cotter's home on the Dominion Country Club, according to an arrest affidavit obtained by San Antonio Express News. Can you see that? Okay, getting a call, first of all, from a friend saying, hey, can you go hide this right now? And you know this person's up for potential murder. Okay. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'll take it. And you take it home and you're like, okay, now let me see. I got to find room for it inside my wall right now. Let's sneak it in here. Oh, and every night that we're sleeping, we got this weapon right behind our heads. Cotter, 65, was arrested. Was arrested by Texas Rangers and Almost Park Police at 7:45 p.m. on Monday and charged with tampering with evidence with intent to hinder an investigation, a third-degree felony. A Baur County magistrate judge set Cotter's bail at $500,000. Suzanne Simpson, 51, a mother of four, is missing and presumed dead. She was last seen alive on October 6th. You guys talking? Yeah. This is one of, I don't know which one you have, but this is one of the three. They're all barking. The other two are in their barking. Sometimes you get to see one of them back there. But yeah, 3 Maltese, and they're all paying from the you know what. So, yep. Thank God for Chris, because they're barking nonstop. Brad Simpson is being held in the Baur County Jail in lieu of a $2 million bail. He is charged with the unlawful restraint, and I think that was up to $3 million, if I remember hearing correctly. He is charged with unlawful restraint and assault causing bodily injury to a family member, his wife. An Almost Park neighbor told investigators he saw Simpson struggling violently with his wife in their yard late on the night of October 6th, and later heard screams from a wooded area nearby. Her remains have not been found. This person actually described that he saw Brad trying to restrain Susan by controlling her upper torso, and pulling her as she tried to get away, pulling her back that way. The affidavit for Cotter's arrest was filed by Texas Ranger Jesse L. Perez, the lead investigator in the missing person case. It describes how a worried Brad Simpson, under scrutiny in his wife's disappearance, allegedly beseeched Cotter to help him, and how Cotter, according to a sworn filing, retrieved the automatic rifle from a walk-in weapons vault in Simpson's home in Almost Park and hid it in his own house behind a wall-mounted television. Yeah, not real smart, BC, exactly. Now they're both sitting in jail together on dogs. Oh my gosh. The affidavit does not spell out why Simpson wanted the AK, we're talking dogs, AK-47 concealed from investigators. Perez's narrative begins with the arrest of Brad in Kendall County at about 1 a.m. on October 9th. After reporting his wife was missing 2 days earlier, Simpson had allegedly refused to cooperate with investigators and retreated to a ranch he owns in Bandera. As he watched Simpson being taken into custody, Perez noticed that the suspect, quote, was in possession of multiple firearms, the ranger wrote in the affidavit. Later that morning, a Texas Ranger and Almost Park police officers searched Simpson's home in the 500 block of East Almost Drive and found, quote, a large walk-in safe room, a vault, that contained a large amount of firearms. A Simpson family member told investigators that the weapons belonged to Brad and surrendered them to the police for safekeeping, the affidavit states. The arsenal was later inspected by agents of the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Explosives, which makes sense. We knew that the ATF had put a hold on him, and we're like, why? This isn't making sense. How is this fitting in? Now we're getting the full story. It included a Grand Power, sorry guys, I am not a pew-pew type person. Okay, so it included a Grand Power Stryborg, a Slovakian-made semi-automatic weapon equipped with a silencer registered to Simpson, according to the affidavit. On October 10th, Perez sent a fellow ranger and 2 Almost Park police officers to talk to Cotter, the friend, at his home. Cotter and Simpson have known each other for 25 years. They worked together at Cotter and Sons, a real estate firm founded by Cotter's father, and they have been partners in a series of business ventures over the years. BC is saying, I have a guess. I wouldn't think you would have a walk-in safe and only be worried about getting rid of one. Yeah, exactly. Very, very well put right there. I mean, awful concerned about one. My suspicion is that's not the only one that was not registered. So why are you getting rid of stuff? And let's see. Where am I? Okay, right here. Cotter allowed the Ranger to examine his phone and his text message and call history with Simpson. And according to the affidavit, this is what gets interesting. Simpson texted Cotter on October 8th and said, quote, if you're in Bandera, can you haul ass and meet me at your house? I don't have much time, end quote. Simpson then texted, okay, make sure to leave all that shit in the pump house, especially that gun. Sorry, quote, sorry for the urgency, but you're all I got now. Now, this is Brad. Sorry for the urgency, but you're all I got now. Social media is destroying me, he texted, according to the affidavit. The Ranger asked Cotter what Simpson meant by, quote, that gun, and Cotter said his friend was referring to a .22 caliber rifle he had removed from Simpson's home 2 days earlier, the affidavit said. That statement was false, according to investigators. On October 20th, an informant Almost Park Police that Cotter had told him Simpson sent him to the home to retrieve an AK-47 with a bullet hole in its wooden stock. Cotter removed that weapon before police searched the walk-in vault at Simpson's house, the affidavit states. The informant told police Cotter stashed it in a void within a bedroom wall. On October 21st, police searched Cotter's home. Hey there, Cat Mama. They brought a K9 trained to detect firearms. It amazes me what dogs can recognize and what they can smell. It just amazes me. Although Cotter denied that Simpson had asked him to hide any weapons, the dog alerted when it entered Cotter's bedroom and approached the wall-mounted TV, according to the affidavit. Yeah, I don't think that dog walked up to the TV and was like, I want to watch Fox News today. Can you turn the TV on? But no, I don't think that's what he wanted. Perez removed the television and part of the wall and found a black and brown Chinese-made AK-47 lying beside an air conditioning vent, he wrote in his affidavit. Attached to the rifle was an orange string that could be used to pull it from its hiding place, Perez wrote. In Cotter's garage, investigators found a roll of that orange string. The rifle and the string were seized as evidence. Chicken Lady is saying, next thing we're going to hear, he was using it for the squirrels. Yeah, exactly. We're going to use that for our squirrels out. Yes. And they're trying everything in their power, that's for sure. Examining a video of Simpson's vault provided by the informant, investigators could see the AK-47 among the weapons stored there. And photos taken during the police search of the same room, which occurred later, that weapon was missing, Perez said. Cotter is charged under Section 37.09 of the Texas Penal Code, which makes it a crime to conceal, quote, any record, document, or thing with intent to impair its verity, legibility, or availability as evidence in an investigation. And that's the end of that. So that was a huge one. As much as the request to, see his kids is something that I was like, okay, no, that ain't happening. Okay, this finding out, these little ins and outs of, you know what, can you hide this for me? And the guy being dumb enough to do it. I mean, it's just, it's nuts. It's nuts to see when people will play those types of games. And so we'll see what happens. We do know they are still looking for Suzanne. We have not found Suzanne yet. I think a lot of people were hoping they would find her when they were looking in the landfill. They did not find that. Have a great evening, Jules, and thanks for joining. Thanks so much. We hope to see you again in the future. And so we'll see what happens with this case. I've got this one on watch, so if I see any new things pop up, yeah, we'll talk about it here. For those of you who have also been helping Chris helped out by sending me some information today on Sarah's case. And then Christola actually sent me a lot of information when I was looking for the affidavit for this last case. Thank you guys so much. And for those of you who aren't members, and for those of you who are members, check out your nice little emojis, because dear Christola is in the process of creating some new emojis for you. Not only do we have some new Local Maniac ones and stuff like that, we got a puppy with red flag puppy, and clues, puppy clue time. So you guys have some fun there. If you guys have any ideas, we're going to look at all of these different emojis, add in whatever we need to add in, things like that. Let us know. Let us know if you can think of some fun little emojis that you guys would love to have. I know we talk about red flags and clues all the time, so we got those added in. We'll see what else happens. And what are you saying, chicken lady? I'm nobody's ride or die. If you're a suspect in a case, you just need to stay away from me, and I ain't keeping up. Yep, that's it exactly. Do not expect me to hide anything for you. No one is worth that in my life. No. So, and also, hey, thank you guys though so much for those of you who've been helping with all this information. I really appreciate it. Fridays have a lot of research that goes into it just to see what we are doing. Sleuth, I'm not sure if you're going to do any other follow-ups to Quinton. I do. Okay, I'll tell you later. I'll send you the link if you don't have it. There was a press conference after the verdict, so didn't quite get to that in this live today, but we will see if maybe Sleuth might cover it. If not, we will see if we can cover it here. But other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome night. I'm going to go call my mom back, who had me on the phone for 30 minutes before we started this live. Cassie, you want to say goodbye to everyone? Hey, bye-bye. Bye-bye. They are so lost without my mom in the house. They just walk around like, where's grandma? Where's grandma? Yeah, you miss grandma. No, I'm not giving you kisses. So please join us tomorrow. Tomorrow at, I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern time, we start with a pre-show Q&A over at Save Robbie's channel for his movie Clout Chasers. If you have any questions, can't make it, but want to have a question answered, go on over there right now and type it into chat. We already have a bunch of Q&A stuff going over there. Then we will have actual premiere of that. After that, I think that's at like 8 o'clock, I think, Eastern time. And then after all of that, we're heading over to Siren's channel for the sour taste testing. And I still have my whole baggie full of all sorts of sour goodies that he sent my direction for this live tomorrow. So it's going to be a long day of lives, but a freaking fun day of lives. So please, please join us, guys. I'll post, okay, throughout the day, I'll be posting the links and all. So if you get lost, you can find your way to us. So make sure you say hi when you come too. So I will talk to y'all later. I hope y'all have a great day. Aloha and